Hello. In this video, what we're going to be doing is discussing boundaries. Now, here are some tips that'll help you with this kind of question. So the first tip you want to do is look at the punctuation in each answer choice. Is everything being used correctly? That's the question you need to be asking yourself with this and answering it with each answer choice. If the punctuation isn't being used properly, then chances are you'll be able to figure that it's the wrong answer and eliminate it. The second tip that you can do to see which answer choice best fits the text is looking through it by actually filling in the blank with your answer choice. So try reading it through the passage with each answer choice, and whichever one sounds the best to you, which one doesn't sound clunky or unnatural, anything that sounds natural to you, you can probably rely on that as an answer. But don't just choose an answer because it seems natural. Try looking for some other evidence as well, which brings the paragraph to point number three, which is looking at sentence structure. Can the part you're reading here stand alone as a sentence? If you're able to distinguish between independent clauses, dependent clauses, and where you need certain types of punctuation, you're going to have a better you're going to have a better chance of understanding this kind of question. So let's look at practice problem number one, where I'm going to show you how to do this. So the answer I got with this one is A, because the thing is here, none of the other punctuation choices would make sense in this context. Because generations of mystery and horror writers have been influenced by the dark Gothic stories of celebrated American author Edgar Allan Poe. And then we have 1809 to 1848. That alone could stand as a sentence. B doesn't really make sense here because we're not separating this first section over here from the rest of the text. It would just disrupt the flow, and it's not natural, it's clunky. C, similarly, would also disrupt the flow of the text. And D, this part, neither generations of mystery and horror writers nor have been influenced by the dark Gothic stories of the author. None of those can function on its own. Both of those are related together. They're dependent clauses. Without one, you can't really have the other function as a sentence. So because of that, we see that A is going to be the best choice here because that's what allows it to properly function to the convention of sound English. Pause for this one. Try to do this one on your own. The correct answer is going to be C. Now, let's look at this carefully. Let's look at the sentence over here. The reed of a wind instrument is the mouthpiece where sound is made, or where is sound made. Where is sound made, regardless of whether it has the period or the question mark, both of those sound like a question, and that's not really the purpose of that kind. That's not really the purpose of the sentence. The sentence is there to give us a definition of what the reed is, and again, the question mark isn't going to help with that. So C is going to be the best choice here because it suits the function of the sentence. All right, please pause and try this one out on your own. If you selected C again, you are correct. Now, let's look at why this is. We can see over here that from the set part, the Mission 66 initiative to national parks, that could function alone as that could function as a sentence on its own. And the part after it, it prioritized physical improvements of the park's roads all the way to programming for the public. Again, that could function alone as a sentence. So since both of those are independent clauses, and we know that a certain type of the semicolons are going to be used to join independent clauses together, we can see that C is going to be the best choice for you because neither A, B, or D can really connect the independent clauses together. D might be able to, but then it would have some specific word after it, like and or but. or, among other words. If you remember the fanboys video, you'll be able to check out more about commas in detail. So if you need help with that, feel free to check out the punctuation videos. All right, practice problem number 4. Please pause and try to figure this one out. The correct answer to this one is D. Now, the reason this would work, to find this one out, let's look at this part of here. Of a rare carbon isotope, and then have increased levels of a rare carbon isotope due to the higher 13C levels in corn and cane sugar. Without this section over here, we can see that the text still functions properly, which means that whatever's in this underlined section isn't grammatically necessary, but the author wanted it to be there. So this is what usually authors do. They kind of keep non-essential information in between the commas. So that's what they did with D in this case. But of the rare carbon isotope, and then they put carbon 13 and then 13C in parentheses before enclosing that too with a comma. It's kind of encasing it between these two parts to show us that it's not really essential information, but it is explaining what the isotope is specifically. All right, try to pause this one on your own, and when you're ready to hear the answer and the explanation, please unpause. All right, the correct answer is going to be B. Now, to verify this, you can always put this into the sentence. Entered San Francisco Bay, and then having left New York Harbor all the way to 135 years. You could try that on your own and see how that functions as the text. But what we can also do is look at this as a whole. With A, for instance, having and in this part over here, it wouldn't really be able to join this part with the rest of the text because you need a comma or something like that. Same thing with C. You need something after the comma, like and or but, for instance, among other examples. And D, this is also known as a comma splice, where it's used to combine clauses with each other, but it's not really doing that effectively. It's not grammatically correct because it needs something more than just a comma. And D, this is what we know as a run on sentence. It's just going on, you're just squeezing two parts of the text together, and it's just flowing without any particular style to it. It's not would be considered to be conventional English. All right, and practice problem number 6. Try pausing this one on your own. The correct answer to this one is D. Now, let's look at this one here. Erkka Frankberg of Tampere University in Finland used the chemical compound aluminum oxide. Now, the chemical compound aluminum oxide, if we're separating it wouldn't make sense to separate it with a comma because we need to know what the chemical compound is. It's not, unlike the previous example over here, for instance, where we're given the rare carbon isotope, we're not given any information. We know that aluminum oxide is essential information and shouldn't be hidden away by the commas. So that's why we know it's not C, and we know it can't be A or D either. B wouldn't be the right answer actually, because we see the comma over here. Recently, Erkka Frankberg of Tampere University in Finland used the chemical compound aluminum oxide, comma, it wouldn't make sense over here. You're just ending it without further explaining it. It's not this part over here is it not an independent clause, which is what commas are usually used for. And similarly, A is not the right answer either because of the comma. So D is the correct answer here because the chemical compound aluminum oxide is what's being used by the engineer. So I hope this video kind of helped you with any questions you or concerns you might have had regarding boundaries. Please make sure to check out my other videos regarding SAT if you found this one helpful. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate you.